Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Just Believe podcast. I'm your host, Herbie Mack, and today I'm honored to have a young man that we built a relationship with. We're in definitely different time zones. But honestly, the power of social media, you connect with people that you don't realize, like, man, like, yeah, I can relate with this young man, or I can relate with this young woman. Today's guest is Brodie. I'm honored to call him a friend. Um, and I'm just glad to watch him grow and vice versa. Brodie, for the followers and the people that's listening, man, please introduce yourself, my man.
No worries. Thank you so much, brother. And I appreciate you and so grateful for you as well. So, my name is Brodie. I consider myself quite young, but an old soul. I'm 26 years around the sun. And I am a mental health advocate. I've got learning experience in mental health. So, I've spent about 6.5 years working in the space of community services, disability services. And I also help people through weight loss and mental health and learning to love themselves. So, and that's what we were talking before. I'm learning to love myself as well. So it's a special thing, social media, isn't it,
Yeah.
brother? Like it's so powerful that, we're on the other side of the world, different time zones, and we connected through something so passionate with suicide prevention and mental health. So just two males just chatting. It's beautiful.
Yes, for the listeners, please tell them where you're at because they probably don't realize.
Yeah, so I'm in Brisbane, Australia. So it's 3:42 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's 1:42 in the morning. So this is dedication.
Oh man,
But
that's
honestly,
that's amazing.
no, it's fine, man. Like I feel like this is worth me staying up because your story is incredible. Not even your story, but your healing journey. And the power of vulnerability is something that's very key to me. And I was attracted to the energy, your aura, your page, because you were so open and vulnerable. And I was like, man, here goes a man who's truly showing his emotion. You know, where I'm from, people like man up, don't show your emotions. And that was the thing that drove me to my like suicidal ideations and to my attempt. And to see someone that was just so comfortable with that, especially with social media. You know, you post something, it's like, oh, the internet can see it forever, and you're just like, no, this is my heart. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeves. And I was like, I love that. For the listeners that has no idea who you are and like why I feel like it's key to have you on and to share your story, can you please just share a little bit of your story? We can just kick it like how we normally do.
Yeah, 100%. So I created this blog in March last year. So people can find me at brodie.wellnessguy. I actually recently, when I say recently, it was a few years ago, I actually tried to do a blog about my ADHD. So it's called My Pathway to Discovery. I tried it on Facebook and it just wasn't aligned to me. And it's funny, a lot of people might not know this, and I'd love to share this if I can in relation to why I started this blog is because we in Australia got locked down in March 23rd last year. And my friend, Nathan, he said, look, I love your content. Like, I love who you are. You've just got so much energy. You've just got so much value. Just create a blog. Just do videos just to help people going through this. And I'm like, oh, I guess. And it started off with, a couple of hashtags, some random photos, 10 followers, random messages, and it's turned into something that I wake up with passion and purpose every day. So I lost my job in May. So I started the blog in March. I lost my job in May. That caused me to suffer from, my self-esteem, my depression and anxiety episodes were bad. It made me to go see a psychiatrist, medication. And I was lost, mate. I was so lost with who I was because recently I moved from a country town to a city. And, I said to my wife, it's going to be beautiful. I left a full-time job. I left a quite a beautiful home on the water to come to Brisbane. And when you think things are going to be, the grass is always greener, that saying, but you've got to water it, right? People
Yes.
don't. People say, oh, the grass is green, but make sure you water it. So for me, I'll explain. This is part of my story as well. So we moved to Brisbane in February last year, and then we got robbed. Welcome to Brisbane. And then we got two grandfathers. We passed away. They both attended our wedding last August, which was beautiful. So they passed away in that year period. And then I lost my job, and then I tried to self-harm and tried not to be here with that suicide attempt. So it was just a tough year. I can't even express it. And I don't even talk about it too much because obviously with my page and content, I've got to be wary of trigger warnings for different people, and I really haven't gone deep into it. But my story is someone that has gone through some trauma due to I was assaulted at work. I was king hit at work in disability. My parents divorced at quite a young age. I've been through troubled relationships and things like that. I don't really, when people say what's your hard story, or it's just life. I wouldn't say I've had it really tough, but I think for me, it's been hard to find out who Brodie was, because Brodie was just on medication because teachers couldn't look after him. Brodie was, very easily impressionable because he wanted friends. So people would say, Brodie, do this. And even though it's a wrong thing to do, Brodie would do it because he didn't really know any better, if that makes sense. So I guess what you guys see in my content is someone that's been through a lot of mental health struggles with mental health units, suicide attempts, parents divorce, parents have tried to take their life. I've seen all that. And you know what I love about all this? And I say love is because if I didn't be through that, I wouldn't be here chatting with you, talking about this. I think it's really powerful to talk about our pain and let it be that it's in the past, but it's also okay to talk about it, because I used to cry all the time talking about the story, which is fine if you're crying. It means you're healing, but I've actually healed from the things that I've been through in the past. And when I say I've healed, I get to talk about it on calls and trainings and things like that. So, I definitely feel that in my career and my life, I have to be the hardest person in the room. It's not an ego thing. It's a learning disability thing. So for me, it takes me a while to understand something. It could be reading. It could be cooking, understanding a recipe. All those vulnerable things that people didn't know about me. Like my wife helps me a lot with my paragraphs. I struggle with comprehension and all these things that people just see. He just does all this. You guys don't see behind the scenes of the daily struggle. So I just share that honesty with you.
No, I love it. I tell you, that's the thing that attracted me to you, is being honest. And some people don't understand. They think of what's your hard story, right?
Yeah.
On the outside looking in, your hard story was you went through a lot in life, right? Like having your parents being divorced is a lot, right? And then not only that, but at a young age, you being on medication. That's a lot to process, right? And I can imagine, because you just openly said it, that it takes time for you to learn things, especially when you're a kid. Man, I'm telling you, them kids are rough. You know what I mean? They are for me, in the Bronx, like if kids was on the short bus, right, who was special needs, people would make fun of them, or maybe they learn slower than others. This is way before now the technology and knowledge that we have about how people learn. It was just oh, he's not getting it. Put him in this class where there's 6 people, and I can imagine that's rough for you. And then not only this, now we're going to fast forward to years later of the pandemic happening. Obviously, nobody was prepared for that. A lot of people lost a lot of jobs, not only in the U.S., not only in Australia, but all over the world. And now you trying to adjust because you guys moved. I'm a country boy moving to the city. We gonna have a good life. But you wasn't prepared for it like anyone else. Like, dude, the pandemic came through and hurt everybody, and it still did. And that's a lot to process. It is, from
Mm.
those events and previous events, and then now this. This is the moment where you're like, this is too much for me. And unfortunately, you was having suicidal ideation, and you did have an attempt.
Mm.
And for you to sit here today, fast forward, over a year later, of I look what I went through. I'm still here, still got this beautiful wife of mine. Um, I learned who I am, and I'm honest
Yeah.
with myself, right? Even like prior to this, and you still openly admitting, I'm learning how to say no, create boundaries, and learn how to love
Yeah.
myself. Like, I tell people, and this is something after my last attempt, right? And this is why I love that you said this. I Googled how to love yourself because I didn't know how to. And
Mm.
I instantly, when I Googled it, I started crying because I was embarrassed. The fact that I had to Google that, and hopefully someone else can teach me how to love myself, because I didn't know how it looked like. I'm
Mm.
talking, I'm the ugly cry. It was just like I was in pain. That was the first time I openly was honest about that with myself. And I had to learn how to wipe my own tears. And I had to learn how to look in that mirror and say, I love you. And just started from there. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I want people to know that if you are feeling like you're in a crisis or you're having a challenge, dude, it's okay to Google and learn how to love yourself. Like, we are every day still going through our healing journeys. There's a
Every day.
question every day. There's a question that I wanted to ask you about, because I'm intrigued on how was the relationship between you and your wife after you had to tell her about your crisis that you was going through.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful question, because um, the reason why she took so I'll obviously, can I go deep on this?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, of course.
You already know how
Yeah,
we
I
go,
just
man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. I also just want to do a trigger warning. I know Herbie will do it on his story, but okay. So my wife, we've been together 6 years in May, so next month, and we've been married in August for 2 years, right? So it's a bit of a background. So we lived with each other in our own pockets. I said I loved her for, like, I think the first month when I first met her. We met on a blind date. It was so blind. It was so lovely. It was so great. She's just amazing. Everything was blind in life. It really is. And yeah, so we asked the first 3 months, I said, let's move in together. Like, let's just forget about whatever you've been diagnosed, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever been diagnosed with mental health, just forget your symptoms. Just for this 2 minutes, I want to chat with you, because it's so easy. And I go into self-sabotage. Me, Brodie, people that I talk about, all this stuff, I go through it too. And I said to my wife, I said, I don't want to die, but if I have to deal every day, and it was 7 days of panic attacks, nausea, couldn't breathe. I tried everything, cold baths, essential oils, crisis lines. I tried everything. It was really embarrassing for me. This was just how I thought, right? It wasn't embarrassing what I'm about to say, but it was embarrassing for me to go, look, Brodie, you used to help people not jump off bridges, guns, knives, ropes, and you can't even talk yourself out of this. What's going on? So, like, because I've worked in that sector, because I've seen my friends complete suicide, right? It's not a crime to commit suicide. And, I just felt guilty. Like, I just like, what's going on? And so fast forward to the relationship and the self-harm, and my wife is very open, but my wife struggled with mental health. So she took the razor blade off me. I was bleeding out. She called the ambulance. She said, is he a threat? The police always ask if, safety. And my wife got triggered because she used to self-harm. I didn't know that about her. I knew that about her, but I didn't know the extent when I first started dating her. So obviously, if you've been through something, you see your family, for an example, it's obviously going to bring things up. So she had to be strong for herself. She took time off work when I was in hospital. Families were calling, friends were calling, Instagram community was calling. And yeah, it made us stronger. It made us who we are. We both talk about mental health. She recently had a weight loss surgery, which we both funded together. And she looks amazing, fantastic, and her mental health is fantastic. But it's made us realize that if one person is struggling, then, and I've said to my wife, she's so selfless. As you've said, you've seen what she does. I said, look, hon, if you're struggling, you let me know. She's like, no, but you might get triggered. And I'm like, I'm your husband. I need to know what's going on. And she used to be so selfless, and she still is, but she used to be in that space where she wouldn't share because she knew that I might get triggered. So for an example, last night, I worked, and it was a really hot day. I worked with this customer that has behaviors and just constantly redirecting. You understand redirecting, reprompting. You're a coach, yeah. So I just got home. I got a message from my mentor, and I cried. I just said, I don't want to show up tonight. So I put my weighted blanket. I ordered Uber Eats. I had a burrito. I watched the football, and that's what I did. And my wife's like, I'm going to go upstairs and do a webinar and talk to my team. And I'm like, I can't. I just can't. And we were chatting before, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that you haven't heard, but we were chatting before we started, is that for the first time in my life, 26 years young, I've had like a first week of not checking my phone at certain times. And like, we need like there's some horn or some special noise effects, because that is huge for me. Yeah. That is huge for me, because I used to be addicted to social media. I'm talking, I know this sounds, I nearly got choked up talking about it, because those hours could have been so much more productive. But anyway, it's in the past. I used to spend about 10 to 12 hours a day on social media. Most of it was a
learning experience. I want you to understand that.
Yeah.
It's not a negative thing. It's a learning experience.
Yeah. It used to be like 50% scroll hole meaningless, and then 50%, connecting with you, connecting with Owen and Jason and all the other beautiful humans that I've connected with. So it's something that I've learned, that we were chatting before, and I love that. Like, I was the same. Like, I'm learning to love who Brodie is. I used to get all the time, like, even when you were giving me compliments, I'm like, is he just saying that? Like, does he mean that? Of course, I know you do. But when you have been through bullying and trauma and all this stuff, you don't believe when someone says, I love you, or I care for you, or I'm here for you. And if you do get triggered by that, guys, I really would love for you to dive deep into Herbie's content, my content, into other people's contents, and talk and listen, and because we've all gone through it, it's something that we go through every day. So it's really important to put yourself first.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said you learning how to let me put down the phone. Now we live in a time where, and I said this off air, that everyone wants your attention, but do you have your own attention? Is the real question. You have to learn how to grab your own attention. Like, okay, I need a moment to me so I can learn who I am. I'm kind of lost in this social media world and lost into my clients and doing everything for them, but I'm not doing something for me. And I thought that was so powerful. Like, when you said that, man, like, my heart like was warm, because it was something I had to learn. Like, I was invested into my phone and invested to other people, and I'm not putting the same energy into myself, right? Like, I have to do this, because if I don't put that same energy to myself, then I can't be the Herbie that people don't see when the cameras are off and the podcast is not recording. And that's the main person that needs to be right. And I applaud you for that. And you still learning how to love yourself. And that's one of the things of, nope, not tonight. Nope, not today. And I tell a lot of people that I get DM'd a lot for collaborations just like you. And I'm not doing that today. I'm not doing that this week. I went for 4 months declining people to collab. Not because I think I'm better than them. I was in a place where it's like, I need a break from my phone. I need a break from social media. Yeah, I do post, but even my posts, I went from posting I went to posting a minimum of 20 times in a week. And then I'm just like, why am
Wow.
I posting that much? I'm more engaged into trying to connect with people and help others, and I'm not even helping my own mental. I'm supposed to be a mental health advocate slash coach. I need to coach me for a moment, and then I think that's beautiful.
Love that.
you know, um,
Oh,
but
boundaries.
yeah, the powers of boundaries. So I want people to definitely understand that. I took like I was gonna take 2 weeks off of like airing out new episodes or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? I'm taking 3 weeks off. If somebody want to know where it's at, hey, I had people that DM me, hey, you didn't load an episode. I told you I'm self-care, man. Like I'm one of those people that I like to practice what I preach, and I try to provide others to do the same. But I wanted to get more into your story. What I think is powerful, right, is the connection that you and your wife have, because the support system is key. You guys speak the
Yeah.
same language, and I'm not talking about like English or anything, but communicate. I'm talking about like communicating with others. Her
Yeah.
understanding you better than you probably understand yourself. Okay, I
Oh,
know
hands
something.
down. Hands down, freaky, absolute freaky. She knows everything by hour. We're talking about schedule. She knows me when I'm going up or down. She knows when I'm triggered. She knows what to do. And I love that because she is the reason why I wake up every morning, the reason why I go to bed with a smile on my face. And I'm not saying this to go, oh, that's nice. It's love. I was a womanizer. I used to go out with girls and party, and I used to have a really bad relationship with women. I would cheat on them, they'd cheat on me. I would have meaningless relationships. And honestly, and my family's gonna laugh or hate me. I don't know. They'll probably a bit of both. But I am the first brother, right? The first brother to get married, right? Who would have thought that Brodie, the person that couldn't hold a relationship down for more than 4 months, is now in a relationship for 6 years? Things can change, guys. That's what I want to say. Like I'm being honest, I'm being vulnerable. This is just who I am. How I talk to Herbie right now is how I talk to someone on the street, because people need real right now. I don't care if you drive a Maserati or a Honda Accord. If you're a good person, if you be kind, I'm going to give you time. Simple as that. I don't care what job you have, what clothes you wear, what relationship, what sex, what gender, what identity, what religion. I just love seeing people do well in life. And if you're kind and you want to do good for others, then the rest will come. And for me, we're talking like, and I'll quickly go back to the wife thing, but like
You're fine, man. You're good.
I was talking to all these different collaborations, and people inbox me and said, oh, I'm a social media agency. I'd love for you to work with me and we can do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And I said, look, I'm so busy with what I'm doing right now. I can't do any more. Oh, that's all right. I thought you'd like more followers. And they just kept guilt tripping me. And I'm like, where do you come off? Like, there's so many guys, and I'm sure you're laughing when you listen to this podcast on the replays, because there's people in cryptocurrency, there's people doing lots of other online businesses. I'm one of them, which is I pride myself as being a genuine network marketer. I care about people. You don't just get a product and program from me. You get me 100%. I'm not going to be that person that promises you the world and leaves you. I thought I'd add that because I get a lot of hate mail ever since I joined network marketing. Before I went to Wellness Guy to coaching, they're like, give me more of this, give me more of that. I'm like, hang on, you're getting a free service here. You don't know what I do in the day. And you said something that didn't trigger me, but that actually gave me goosebumps, and go, wow, I need to work on that. And I love that about you, is we can connect and be real with each other. And that's what it is. And Herbie was saying that, if Instagram goes, guys, your wife, your partner, your friend has got 60, 70 years, 80 good years, and then they're gone, right? Instagram, Facebook will be there in eternity. So that's deep, right? Like, it's not about but it's more about, guys, like, this is so important to connect with yourself, because I see it every day. I go out in the community with a customer. Parents are on their phones while having dinner. Parents are at the park, more worried what filter they should use and not playing with their kid. Like, this is real things going on, and it causes mental health. And then when kids don't get love, what do we get? We get, you go out, hang with the wrong crowd. We're talking drugs, we're talking alcohol, we're talking, going down the wrong track with relationships. So it's just about being true to yourself and being authentic. And I think, and I'll be open as I always am. And it's funny when people say, like, I'll be honest. You know, when people say that,
Yeah.
I'm like, you should be honest all the time. But I'm like, no, I just say that. But that's a little funny thing. But I pride myself on showing up and being authentic. But lately, I sometimes get so in my own head. Oh, should I post this? Should I post that? Should I post this? And I haven't even spent a good 2 hours checking on my wife. How was her day? And I had to sit back and journal and show gratitude and go, wow, like, forget this. Like, have a few days off. And now on the weekends, I get to spend time with my wife, and we go to nature, and then we redirect. And it's so easy to go, oh, I need photos for content, and what hashtag to use. And you get to the point where if you're not getting happy, or you're not getting smiling doing what you're doing, then sometimes you might need to take a step back or stop it completely. So for someone that has anxiety and mental health and work in the disability sector, it's very important to have a routine, like we said, and have boundaries. It's two simple things. I don't want to overwhelm you and give you all these tips and tricks, but how I've coped with what I've been through and why I'm still talking to Herbie and Herbie talking to me is because we have got a bigger vision than ourselves. And I know that sounds all cliche, but when you have a bigger goal than yourself, the universe will manifest it, right? The universe will attract it.
Yeah.
So if you go, okay, I want to earn $5 million because I want to have a nice beach house and have a nice car, that's all good if you do that, by the way. But if you are being selfless and saying, I want $5 million and I want to set up a homeless charity and, go to South Africa.
Good intentions,
Yeah, good intentions. Just do something that's out of your doing and out of what you don't get out of. Like, I do things in public that I do in private, right? I do things that people wouldn't see. I donate to charities. I spend my time volunteering in other places, not because, oh, that's so nice of you, Brodie. Oh, I do it because it actually feels, because some people do that, though. I want to be honest with you. Some
people
do
it for the likes and the followers.
They go on Instagram. They go, hey, I'm just in the homeless shelter. And I'm like, does that person want to be on your Instagram? Like, he's homeless. Like, did you ask him? Like,
I'm going to give you an example of that, right?
Please do.
So my previous employer that I used to work for, they used to volunteer for, to feed the homeless or whatever, right? Or not even the homeless, but to work with people that's, less community, like, the people that less income or whatever, low income, there it goes. And I used to volunteer all the time, right? Like they do it for the month of November because of Thanksgiving and all that and Christmas, right? And I used to volunteer all the time. And so one day, one of my friends was like, hey, how come you won't post this on your social media? And I'm just like, why should I? Like, these people are probably embarrassed to, get free food, quote unquote. Like, nobody wants to sit there, hey, man, I get a turkey. Can I get this or whatever, right? And I'm like, dude, I do this all the time. I don't do this for the followers. I don't do it for the likes. I do this because this is who I am, right? And then there was another time where my wife and I, we donated a bunch of clothes, kids' clothes, her clothes, and some of my clothes. I never posted on social media, right? I don't care about that. And plus, like, some people, as you just said, don't want to be on there. And I had a homie who's probably going to listen to this and going to DM me about this, and I don't care, who used to post stuff like this all the time. And I'm like, dude, thank you for doing a good deed, but you do want, it seems like you want some attention. When I feed the homeless or do anything with good intention, I don't post it. Like the Eric Thomas post that I post of me with him, bro, that took a lot for me to post because I normally don't post stuff like that, right? Because I don't care about the likes and followers, but I realize, and it's something key that you said, that it's bigger than me. I post the Eric Thomas thing and me being a certified speaker now by Eric Thomas to show people the power of manifestation. Like it, I met him in 2019, and a year and a half later in 2021, I graduated with his blessings. So it was like, we can achieve things that we put our mind to. And it wasn't just like, oh, this is my highlight moment. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. Like, you know how I am. I'm very private and secretive. Like, you know, I don't post.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't post like my family or anything like that because they didn't ask for that. That's my social media. You know, they didn't ask for that. They, you know, that they have their own private life. But now I'm glad that you said that. I just had to vent a little bit, just similar to you, but I think
no, 100%. I love that. I love that. And I was careful. Oh, sorry.
No, but I was just like, people got to understand, what you attract is what you get, right? Like, I want the best outcome for you, for me, right? I was attracted to you because of who you are. And I always said, like, you know, whatever you put your heart into, I know it's going to take off, you know, because you're still discovering who you are, which is perfectly fine. Dude, it took me, I didn't realize who I was until like last year, you know what I mean? Because I was doing everything else for everyone else. And now I'm doing things that's for me. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at the blessings that I'm getting. I'm connecting with people that I had no idea that I was going to connect with. Dude, you're literally in another continent. You know what I mean? And I call
blows my mind.
And I call you a good friend, right? I'm like, oh yeah, Brodie, that's my good friend. You know, like my wife was like, hey,
staying up at 1:30.
Yeah, my wife was like,
respect.
Why are you doing this? I'm like, oh, Brodie's my good friend. I got to check on him. I haven't been into my phone as much to see what he's been doing or whatever, but I want to. It's deeper than, oh, he looks like life is going well. Look at his Instagram. This is deeper than, it's like, let me see what's going on with him. But prior to this, I wanted to really, because you dropped a lot of gems in this episode. If there's someone that's currently going through a challenge or crisis that's very similar to your story, as far as you had a pandemic hit, it was too much for me. What can I do? I don't know what to do. I'm thinking about just making a horrible decision for a temporary pain. What would you tell them?
I'm here for them. I really am. I think when I say my inbox is open, I mean that. I've done the same thing as Mack. I've done the same thing that I have just got no expectations. I literally just say, I'm here for you, and look what the connection that we have today. And once you get out of your comfort zone, and it's okay. I want to validate people when they have suicide ideations. It's not weak to feel that you don't have everything in control, is because the pandemic is making people vulnerable with mental health. So if you have mental health already before the pandemic, you're going to experience it more, right? The anxiety is going to be heightened. If you've lost your job, or if you couldn't go to your holiday, or you couldn't go to a wedding, or even, for an example, some of the funerals that I attended had to be via online, and it was just a whole new world. Like, how can you grieve on a computer screen, right? We do pretty well talking and sharing our emotion, but like, for me, I'm a very extrovert person. I try to bring, as you know, the energy into a computer screen. My computer screen's like, yo, calm down. But I'm like, no,
all the time. You see my machine shaking now.
Tony Robbins, say hi. Look, everyone's yelling with me. But, I'll get back to the question, because I can be so zippy zappy. But
You're fine, man.
I just want people to know that if it takes 4 weeks or 8 weeks to get back to your baseline of, loving life, like there's no such thing as a perfect time to do something. I want to let people know that. I got told today, if you get scared of jumping into something, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to wait for the rest of your life until you're in the bed. You're in the graveyard, right? I think Eric Thomas or is it Les Brown? Les Brown said this, and it stuck to me. The richest people in the graveyard are the people. The richest people in the world is in the graveyard because people dreams die with them, right? And it only starts with them, and they had it only started with them. They could only do that. So if you're wanting to start a business, or if you're wanting to start a podcast, do a blog, ask that friend out, apply for that job that you think you're not good enough, do it. Because if you are struggling mentally, it's because you're not living your life. I mean that, guys. I can't stress that enough, is because if you're worried and getting triggered by the news or by social media or by a friend, is because you're, Herbie, we've both said it, like I post content of my journey, and then still some days I'm like, oh, do I have to? I'm like, it's going to trigger me. I've got this. But like, I get to share my story, and that's a beautiful thing. So if you're a person that doesn't like talking, there's a lot of help services that do text services now. If you're struggling to reach out to people, you could do a code word with me. Like, you don't even have to know me. You don't even have to follow me. You can just see that I'm offering free support. And I'm not saying that I'm going to get back to you like that. I've got boundaries now, but so I drop that in. I want to help you. I want to jump on a Zoom and just see if I can help you, because I know I've got coaches in my life that can help you. Herbie's one. Jason's one. Owen's one. John's one. There's so many others. Kim's one. Like, I could name drop them all. I can't. We don't have time. But they're just beautiful people that want to help you, and they don't care about your money. Herbie has done so many times, and I want to give him a big head because he deserves. He's very humble, but he talks to people, and he could charge, but he wants to see if he can help you first, and not get into your inbox and do all those things that coaches do, right? We all know what they do. So I just want you to know that it's okay. There's no grief time zone, right? Time zone. There's no grief. I get so excited talking to you, I don't even know how to speak sometimes.
Are you good, man?
So when people say, like, I lost my grandfather, right? It was about 3 months, and he was a big part of my life. And not a day goes by that, there's certain food, certain song that comes in, I miss him. And when people go, "I'll get over it, Brodie," there's no time limit. So if you're feeling suicidal, or you lost your job 8 months ago, still feel that. Don't just pretend. And this is what I used to do. And sometimes I still do. I go, "Oh, I'm the wellness guy. I shouldn't have panic attacks. I shouldn't have anxiety. I post all this good stuff. I shouldn't feel." That's bullshit. That's going to make me go back to hospital. So I don't do these podcasts and collaborations for anything but awareness and love. So it's I just want to let you know that it's okay to feel everything, and there's so much support out there. And we are in a pandemic. We are doing things that are scary, and I just want to let people know that life is going to be different, and that's okay if you're scared, because I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. So I hope that helps. And
no, that did. That was great. I appreciate that. No, I did. That was phenomenal. But unfortunately, we're running out of time. Please let the listeners know where to find you at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a YouTube channel. It's all on my bio and my Instagram. So you just type in my name, Brodie, BRODIE .wellness guy. So I'm on Instagram. I'm very friendly. Drop me a message, and I'll be more than happy to have a chat and just connect. I'm super excited to just share my story, because I know a lot of amazing people like you and I are out there just doing amazing things. So I love recognizing those people.
I appreciate this, man. This was phenomenal. Until then, guys, see you next time. Peace.
Thanks, guys.